Big Jeff, aka GCurse here. Welcome to another episode of Black Site Files for Unsolved Mysteries. Oh, files from Black Site. Sorry about that, everybody. Welcome back. Let's try that all over again. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. Before we get to the case, as always, let's take a quick look at the weather, shall we? Because I like to show off when the weather is nice. I'm a little bit of a blowhard like that. So, let's see here. There we go. So, as of right now... Ooh, why is it like that here? Let's actually full screen that. There you go. It is actually a nice and pleasant 40 degrees. It is clear. It is actually a pretty damn nice morning here in the city of Coastal Washington. It is supposed to be a high of 65 today with a low of 38. So it's actually feeling a lot like spring, which is nice because I just got on spring break from work. So that's always nice. So let's check out the weather, or hourly though, shall we? Okay, so... As of 9 a.m., it's going to be sunny. It looks like it's just going to be sunny all day. It is going to be a nice sunny day until about 2, and then we get some clouds rolling in. But hey, 60 can't go wrong with 62, and then 65. We hit the high of 65, 3. It is going to be a nice day. Now, if we go to Sunday tomorrow, which is Easter, by the way, happy Easter to those who celebrate it. Starting at 12 a.m., it's going to be cloudy, but let's see what it looks like. Okay, starting at 8 a.m., it looks like it's going to become a little bit sunny out there, which is nice for all those who have Easter festivities, or Easter gatherings. Let's just say Easter gatherings. It's in the morning, and I'm still waking up a little bit. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a decent day for at least today and tomorrow. Let's see. What about Monday? What does Monday bring us? It looks like it's going to be mostly clear as of midnight, and then as we get into the daytime, it looks like it's going to be cloudy. A little bit lower temperatures, 57 at 1, but then we peak out at 64 at 5. And let's take a quick look at the daily, shall we? Because I'd love to know what my my spring break is actually going to look like. So it looks like, okay, we got a little bit of rain on Wednesday. But we rebound for Thursday, Friday. Aw, crap. WrestleMania Saturday. That's the day I'm actually looking forward to. WrestleMania Saturday. It's supposed to be cloudy with a little rain and 56. 54 with clouds and sun on Sunday. Then when I return to work, 56 and rain. 56 and rain. At least the majority of spring break is actually going to be nice. Am I right? Anyway. With that out of the way, here, let's close this. Let's turn this off. I actually took a couple pictures. I am the type of guy that likes to do all my shopping early in the morning. I'm not very, I don't like driving when there's a lot of people out there. I'll be honest, I was never a person who liked to drive, period. It was not till my mom passed away that I ended up having to learn to drive, and it's just not for me. I mainly keep the vehicle I have because it belonged to my mom. I view it as like honoring her memory, basically. So I went to the grocery store to get my weekly groceries, and I snapped a couple nice images. Here we have the just before the sun rise to the east. And I thought I'd show it. This is just before the sun starts to crest. And then I thought I'd get a picture of the moon, which is nice, But yeah. So with that out of the way, let's close that out. Now we are to the poll results, ladies and gentlemen. With a whopping 9 votes. I want to thank everybody who also voted. This is like the highest amount of votes I've ever had on my polls so far. So I do want to say thank you very much to those people who voted. It means a lot to me. This poll is not to say who's right or wrong. I'm just wanting to know what people are looking forward to. I'm not saying like is one case better than the other. So we got 56% of the voters who wanted to see the Kurt McFall case, which I actually think is one of the more interesting cases out there. And if you are somebody who likes to, have a happy ending, we have another case for you. This one's going to air tomorrow. This is the undelivered World War II letters. So, a couple good cases all around. We are approaching the end of Season 1, Episode 2. So these are like the two final cases, if I remember correctly, for Episode 2 of Season 1 of the YouTube upload of Unsolved Mysteries. But yeah, so up first, we are going to be getting to the Kurt McFall case. And this case is actually pretty interesting. It's believed that he could have been killed because he was actually part of what is known as LARPing, or live action role playing, basically. It's believed that he got into some occult activities, possibly, and that he wanted out of that group, and instead of just letting him out, they ended up killing him. So, we will find out if there's been any updates when we go to do the case reading, and the case reading will happen right after these commercials. Stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Take a look at what's coming to the Disney Channel for our Dragons and Dinosaurs Festival.
Let's take with me.
This night's looking for a fight.
Oh, I never fight. I never did.
Disney's The Reluctant Dragon. Then, dinosaurs are everywhere, as Christopher Reeve unearthed some fascinating facts about these prehistoric giants.
A living dinosaur? Myth or reality?
Dinosaur. Next, you're on the track to
Secret celebration.
join a party that's only for dragons with the Railway Dragon. Then, no dinosaur is safe with Peter Ustinov
We shall steal dinosaur.
and Helen Hayes.
We've stolen the wrong dinosaur.
In Disney's, one of our dinosaurs is missing. And
Magnificent things are about to happen.
as you travel to the land of Honolulu with Pop, the Magic Dragon. Next, take off on a hunt with Gary Owens and Eric Boardman.
It isn't our two dinosaur guys.
And discover a 20th century dinosaur egg on Son of Dinosaurs. Finally, Dennis discovers...
Prehistoric baseball bat. I said dinosaur ball. Yuck!
And now, there's prehistoric pandemonium.
Hey, Mr. Wilson! Come on up!
Not a chance.
Dennis the Menace. It's all happening during our Dragons and Dinosaurs Festival, only on the Disney Channel.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are all having a great morning. It is currently 8:26 here in the city of Kelso, Washington, and we are just about to start the viewing, the case reading of the Kurt McFall case. As always, the way I like to do this, if you have never been to one of my, or watched one of these videos, let's just say watch them, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm still kind of working on something. I will actually be right back. Here, let me just pause it real quick. Okay, I am back. I just had to get the browser set up. I forgot to do that, and I apologize. So, but anyway, if you are new to this series that I like to produce, basically we'll go to the Unsolved Mysteries wiki and basically kind of do a case reading to see how, what happened and who the players are in the case, basically. And for that, I'm going to have my uber sexy secretary. Fucking all these episodes and I still can't get it right. My uber sexy secretary, Jasmine. She will be actually doing the reading for us. And basically, every now and then I will either pause it or I'll let it run through the portion she's reading run through. And we will, I'll ask my questions then, or I'll give you my thoughts, But anyway, so before we get going, I'll actually be the one that reads this part. So basically, the case is the it's Kurt McFall case. I hate these ads. Oh my god, they put it right between the title and it's fucking ugly. Anyway, his real name is Kurt Thomas McFall. The case was suspicious death. The location was San Francisco, California, and the date was September 8th, 1984. I was not even 3 years old at this time. Jesus. I was still 2 almost. Well, I was almost 3, but yeah. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this, and if you've watched any of these videos before, you'll know that this reading, audio reading thing program that is part of Chrome is not the best, so I apologize for that. But let's get going, shall we? So let's highlight this, and then wait, so where's the audio? Hold on. I know that's weird. It should have been. Let's see here. Where is the? Wait, did they take it off? Did they take it off? It used to be that they had. Huh. Okay, guys, I'm actually gonna have to pause the recording, and then when I return, I'll have it hopefully set up. If not, then I'll have to read it. It's just that it's going to destroy my throat, though. But I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I actually apologize for that. I actually had it on the wrong browser. Uh, yeah, so it's actually the Microsoft Edge browser that has uh, the read aloud function. And yeah, so let's get this all set back up. There we go. So, and like I said, I apologize if it doesn't work correctly. They're still working out the bugs, I guess. Yeah, they're still working out the bugs. Okay, read aloud the selection. Okay. Wait, hold on.
17-year-old Kurt McFall lived with his father, Tom McFall, in Concord, California. On Saturday, September 8, 1984, he left his home and drove across the Bay Bridge into San Francisco. He planned to spend the night with a friend and return home Sunday evening. 2 days later, on Monday, September 10th, two men went birdwatching on some rugged cliffs at Land's End in a remote area of San Francisco Bay. On the isolated beach below, they discovered Kurt's bruised, half-naked body. Although the police are skeptical, Tom is certain that Kurt was murdered. He wants the case to be investigated. He does not believe Kurt fell to his death. He is certain that Kurt would have been able to handle himself in the cliff area because he was an experienced mountain climber. Tom also does not believe Kurt drowned because he was a diver.
It's something that me and my friend Aaron talked about when we did the Two Friends Watch case of Kurt McFall. I think sometimes when something bad happens to a loved one, I think that the family wants to claim murder because it's easy to try and put a face to something bad that happens to a loved one, when in reality sometimes it is just a horrible mistake. Am I saying that he was not murdered? No, I'm not. I'm just saying that sometimes families will claim murder because, like I said, they're grieving, and they want to know that, they want that reasoning of why somebody died, you know. But with that said, sometimes that they were talking about how the fathers thought that Kurt, well, you know, he was, let's see, what was the words that he used? He was an experienced mountain climber, and because he would not drown because he was a diver. I just because you're experienced in something, it does not mean that you cannot have a bad day. It just doesn't. Being experienced in something does not totally turn off the whole factor of accidents happening. Even on a person's best day, they can have an accident. But yeah, so that's what I have to say about that. I'm not saying that he was murdered or not. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that sometimes families, they just want to go with, they want to think the worst, because that way if the killer is ever apprehended, they can actually have that face and that closure, when in reality sometimes it's an accident, and it's just a lot harder to digest, I guess you could really say sometimes. Okay, so let's continue on. Let's go down to here. Reload. And it may take a second for the...
To outward appearances, Kurt was a bright and popular senior at Clayton High School. He was in the school's newspaper and yearbook clubs and enjoyed math and science. He talked about joining the military after graduation. He also loved the outdoors. He was known to make friends easily. Friends describe him as confident, energetic, and intense. They knew he sincerely cared about them. Tom has learned that there was another side to Kurt. The day after Kurt disappeared, Tom called one of Kurt's friends. The friend said that about a week earlier, Kurt had told him that he was involved in a satanic cult that dabbled in black magic. He said the members were trying to control H.
Okay, now this is one of the problems. Sometimes the program does not finish the last word, so it was basically they were trying to control him, basically. If you grew up in the 70s or 80s or 90s or whatever, you will know that during the 80s there was a thing called satanic panic, and basically it's kind of like how nowadays video games get a bad rap. Well, back then it was like, like Dungeons and Dragons, certain types of music, certain types of movies, they were all kind of lumped in with what they called satanic panic. Basically, I'm guessing you could say it was like the far right. It was their way of trying to place blame on one group for all the wrongs of the world, and at this time it was the Satanists. Even if you played Dungeons and Dragons, for example, just for fun, and you never meant any harm, you were playing Dungeons and Dragons just to pass time or whatever, you were automatically lumped in with a Satanist simply because it was something that other people did not understand, or they did not want to understand. Okay, let's go here. So far, it sounds like the program's doing pretty good, so let's just keep hoping for the best, shall we?
Kurt told his friend he was in over his head and wanted to leave the cult. However, he was afraid that the members would kill him if he tried to leave.
Okay, now, before I continue on, the one thing I will say that if you watched any of my previous videos, I do not go by what third parties say. So I do not view them as a credible source. I am the type of person who needs to see actual evidence. Show me the evidence. With that said, even his father, I don't always take, even like first party, like parents and family and stuff. Just because they say something, I'm not going to totally just jump for it, I'm the type of person that needs to see that actual evidence. So by the friend saying, oh, Kurt told him this and Kurt told him that, sorry, bud. I don't even think the friend was, this quote-unquote friend, I don't even think he was actually in this episode of Unsolved Mysteries. I think a lot of what we saw in this case, if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I last saw it. I think the only two people that were actually interviewed was Kurt's father, and then there was I'm guessing he was the considered the. Oh, there was also a third person, if I remember correctly. There was a guy, Kurt's father. There was a guy. I think he was a leader or a spokesperson for either the LARPing, the role players, or the Satanists, or whatever you want to call it. And then there was a lady who talked about the role playing or LARPing, or whatever you want to call it. And I think she talked about how Kurt had like a thing of armor that he made. But there was not that many people, if I remember correctly, that were interviewed for this case. And I don't think that his friend was at all in it. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in the comment section or the description of this video, I will actually post the link to the Unsolved Mysteries, this case on Unsolved Mysteries YouTube channel. I will also link the wiki, and I will post a link to my commentary video that covered this case. So you'll basically get a little bit of everything, you know. Okay, now let's see if this actually works, because sometimes after I pause it, it tends to go off the rails.
He said that if anything should happen to him, the friend should tell the police about the cult's 2 leaders. Tom now believes that Kurt strayed from a suburban middle-class background into a world of witchcraft, mysticism, and possibly murder. Alarmed by the phone call, Tom searched Kurt's bedroom. He wanted to gain all the information he could about Kurt's disappearance. In Kurt's room, Tom discovered a black leather bag that contained a knife made from a deer's hoof, a necklace of stone and feathers, and a candle. He also found books on the occult and drawings of witchcraft and violent fantasies. These seemed to be further proof that Kurt was leading a double
life. Like I said, this is what the father says, and I'll be honest. I'm not talking about violent fantasies, but when you're a teenager, who hasn't drawn? Especially if you're a guy. Let's be honest. You're a guy. Your hormones are racing. If you're a guy, who has not drawn some erotic pictures? I know I did when I was in school, and I was fucking bored beyond belief. I'd be sitting at my desk, you know, with my notebook open, and I'd be drawing some kind of explicit fantasies. I'm not going to lie. Does this all prove that he was killed? No. Because, like I said, there's no real proof that was given in the video, which you'll see via the links. But I think, honestly, this is just a case of a father who is trying, you know, who was mourning at this point, who is mourning and trying to make sense out of something that happened to his son. Is it sad? Yes. Yes, it is. I'm not trying to diminish that at all. I'm just trying to play the role as somebody who's neutral. I'm not going one way or the other. I'm just trying to look at this with like a investigator's eye, I guess you could say. Okay, so let's continue on. Let's actually go down to here. Read aloud selection. There we go.
Life. At the age of 10, Kurt became interested in the medieval fantasy game Dungeons and Dragons. It was the beginning of a voyage into a subculture that would dominate him. A year before he died, Kurt joined the Society for Creative Anachronism, or SCA. Its members enjoy reliving medieval customs in the actual costumes of the period. Once a week, they practice jousting and sword fighting in the parking lot of an Oakland subway
station. God, it's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing, isn't it, how far Dungeons and Dragons has actually evolved, basically. It went from being seen as something as like a real small niche thing back in the 80s to actually being pretty damn popular. Hell, one of the biggest toy makers, Hasbro, actually owns, I think they own the name of, or owns the intellectual property of, Dungeons and Dragons via Wizards of the Coast. I think they own that by, you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's very amazing to see how things back in the 80s, which was seen as like very taboo and like, oh no, we can't do that because they're the Satanists. It's amazing to see how popular it is now. Hell, across the street where I live, there is a mall, and there's actually a store that sells like, you know, Magic the Gathering cards and Dungeons and Dragons and all that sort of stuff. And every Friday night, they actually, the business, I don't want to say they sell out, but they have like tables where people can come and play, you know, their games. And every Friday night, each of those tables are just packed with people playing Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering and all these other things that 20, 30, 40 years ago would have been seen as taboo. And if you even mentioned that you were doing something like this, you would have been given the eye, like, you know, the eye where they're like casting like that they're kind of spurning you about, you know. But yeah, it's nice to see things evolve over time. Regarding the Society for Creative Anachronism, or SCA, One of the people at the job where I work, I'm not sure if he's part of, if there's like different groups like this, but one of the people I know, he actually participates in role playing and the sort of stuff that the SCA does. I think he went down to Vancouver recently. I can't recall if it was Vancouver or whatever, but I know that he participates in these sort of events and everything. So yeah, it's like I said, it is very nice to see how things change over time. You know, hell, back in the '90s, if you came out and said that you were a gamer, oh, gaming, that's where losers, that's where loners are. And look at how fucking popular gaming is now. Things are changing, my friend. Okay, so, and one of the people I was trying to talk about was, her name is Hillary Powers. She is the one I think that talked about Kurt having his armor and everything. So, but let's continue on, shall we? Okay, let's go down to here.
Tation. SCA President Hillary Powers recalls that Kurt was there about twice a week in February and March 1984. While there, he learned how to fight. She thought he was good, quick, and talented, and was going to be good at the game. She and the others were pleased with him. She does not believe his death had anything to do with his participation in the SCA. As Kurt became increasingly interested in medieval rituals, he joined a separate group that initiated him into pagan religion. One of his high school friends, John, feared this new group and contacted Tom. He had become concerned for Kurt and now fears for his own.
For his own safety, that it says. And notice how they put the guy's name as John, because I don't think that this guy was in the interview at all. He was interviewed at all. Like I said, that's the problem I have with a lot of the earlier episodes of Unsolved Mysteries, like with this case, because a lot of what you see, well, that's a lot of it, almost everything is like secondhand knowledge and everything. You don't actually get to see the actual evidence in a lot of these cases. But it was really bad in like these earlier cases. John told us. Who the fuck is John? You know, like, I want to see John. Was John interviewed? Fuck no. But there was a guy named John, and John said this. I'm sorry. I just don't buy it. Anybody can make a claim of this, and anybody can make a claim of that. I want to see actual proof. Well, John said it. Well, John could be the fucking second coming of Christ in his eyes. I don't believe it because I don't see it. Okay, so, yeah, that's a little bit of a rant. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, let's go down to here. And now it's going to pick up with safety. I'll make you a bet.
And safety.
Yes.
According to John, Kurt's attitude towards other people changed drastically over a 6-month period. Kurt moved from just studying with an interest in medieval religion to adopting that religion as his own. He lost a lot of his friends as a result. Kurt studied pagan religion with Gabriel Carrillo, who uses the ancient Welsh name Caradoc. He notes that the religion, which is part of the fairy tradition, is also an art and a craft and has techniques that are, at their essence, magical. He met Kurt because Kurt had shown an interest in magic. He describes Kurt as bright and curious about everything. John compares Kurt's involvement with the group to that of a drug addiction, where he began thinking that he had it under control and could take it when he wanted it. But gradually, he lost the sense of knowing when to stop until he became a junkie.
Oh, please don't tell me you're breaking down.
Caradoc claims he does not control people's lives. He notes that people are free to come and go at their discretion, just as Kurt did. He claims he tries to emphasize people taking control of
their own lives. Once again, I'm sorry. John! I can't take anything John says seriously because, number one, we don't see John. And number two, John is a fucking alias. What I would have done if I felt threatened, I would have gone right out on television, as I am. hey, here is Jeff Miller. He says he's being threatened, by, killed and everything. My logic behind that is if I can put enough light on me, if I am killed by that group that, the Satanists, it would then put a light on them possibly and bring them out and, bring them out to face justice, basically. I just find it very, I'm very skeptical when I see people on Unsolved Mysteries that have to either be in silhouette or they have to have an alias because they're so afraid. Why are you fucking afraid? Yeah, you could be hurt, but the thing is, by going out there, it could actually protect you because it gets more light on you, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, sorry, I can't take anything John says seriously. And I don't know what it is. I love how the program read Karadoc. The name was pronounced Karotic, but the program reads as Karadoc. I'm like, oh my god, that is some funny shit. Let's hear it one more time. Let's hear it one more time. Let's hear it one more time. Oh fuck it! No, stop! It's gonna do it wrong. Hold on. I think I did it. Okay. Oh, there's no selection. I just want to hear it say Karotic or Karadoc. It's Karotic. It's Karotic. Okay. Anyway. Okay, let's go down to here. Now it's probably going to say own lives. I'll make you a bet.
Our Own Lives. On Saturday, September 8th, 1984, Kurt left home to spend the night at Karadoc's apartment in San Francisco. They had dinner and went to a movie. Around midnight, Kurt went swimming at Ocean Beach, a few blocks from Karadoc's home. Later, Kurt was restless and could not sleep. According to Karadoc, Kurt knocked on his door at about 3 a.m. He said it was too hot inside and that he was going back to the beach. He took a blanket with him. He was never S.
He was never S. Never seen alive, ladies and gentlemen. Or seen alive again, sorry. This is one of the things that kind of made me kind of scratch my head because it's known that one of the times you don't want to go swimming is when it's dark out because, number one, you have real no light to go navigating, to find your way. Also, like the tides come in, tides go out. I'm pretty sure that the force of the water is also a little bit stronger. This is one of the things that kind of confused me when his father said, "Oh, Kurt was, he was a good swimmer because he dived." I'm not a swimmer, but I'm pretty sure, like, if you go through classes and everything, that they probably tell you it's best to not go swimming at night. That may just be me. That's what I would tell my students. Be like, hey, if you're just recreationally swimming, do not go at night because of the fact you could either get lost or you could actually have something very bad happen to you. Karadoc. Oh, we're gonna have Karadoc again. Okay. Okay. Let's go down to here. And I'll make you a bet. It's going to start with. It's going to probably N alive again. I'll make you a bet.
N alive again.
N alive again.
Karadoc guesses that Kurt took one too many chances. He thought Kurt might have gone swimming in the ocean and been pulled out by the undertow. He also thought that Kurt might have gone climbing on the cliffs at Land's End and slipped and fallen. The following evening, Sunday, September 9th, Kurt's car was discovered abandoned on a golf course overlooking the ocean. There were several puzzling clues. His driver's license was on the floor. His car keys were on the seat. A $20 bill was in the glove compartment. The prized suit of armor, which he had made for his SCA sword fighting, was missing from the trunk. Most curious of all, there were beer bottles scattered in and around the car. Tom believes the scene was staged because Kurt did not drink beer. Also, the autopsy report showed that there were no signs of alcohol or drugs in Kurt's body.
Sometimes it stalls a second. Hopefully.
At 10:15 a.m. the following morning, Monday, September 10th, National Park Service lifeguards recovered Kurt's body. It was lying in a cove less than 2 miles from Caradoc's home, just below the cliffs at the golf course where Kurt's car was found. When lifeguard Brian Cameron came upon Kurt's body, he noticed it was in relatively good condition. It was pale, which is usually a sign of being in the water for an extended period of time. There was no obvious external trauma. The body looked pretty clean other than A.
Okay, and this is a lot of what the father says. Like, he did not drink. Kurt did not drink. And just because Kurt did not drink when he was around his father, it does not mean that he's not going to do stuff or not drink, when the father's not there. He was a teenager, if I remember correctly. I think he was like 17, 18 or something like that. Teenagers, hell, I'm one of them. I was a teenager once. I'm not one now. I was one once. Teens will do stuff behind their parents' back because they are told, no, you cannot do that. No, Jeff, you cannot smoke. What did I do? I took, I had one cigarette. I never did it again, but I did it because of the fact I was told no. Going all the way back to, I remember back from reports and everything in the early 80s when the very first Friday the 13th movies were coming out. Those movies were highly profitable. It is believed that a lot of those viewers that went to those movies were told, no, you can't see them by their parents because of how violent it was. It's that thing. You tell a child, no, they cannot do something. They are going to do it behind your back because you are basically trying to set that limit, and they do not want limits, especially as a teenager. Teenagers think that they can basically, that they're impervious, basically. Just because Kurt did not drink in the presence of his father does not mean that he did not drink, away from his family. Even although the autopsy did clearly say that there were no signs of alcohol or drugs in his body. So that is kind of curious. It's like, well, there's nothing in his body, and I'm pretty sure that once you die, once you're dead, the stuff that stays in your body, like your blood, alcohol content, and whatever, I'm pretty sure that doesn't go away because you're dead. Your body can't process this stuff anymore. Okay, let's see here. And it basically said there were small abrasions. Okay. Now, do I think Karadok is innocent? That's not really for me to say, but looking at the way he acts, where he talked about how he took one too many chances. That just doesn't really make him put him in a good light, in my opinion. This guy was supposed to have been a friend of Kurt's, and for him to go, oh, well, he just took one too many chances. It's like, dude, he was your friend. It's like, wow. Apparently, friendship doesn't mean much to Karadok.
EW small abrasions. Kurt's body had no shoes, socks, or shirt. His back and shoulders were scored with cuts and abrasions. And strangely, the belt he wore was missing its buckle. Chief Petty Officer Ron Wilton of the U.S. Coast Guard cannot say for certain where Kurt entered the water. He guesses that Kurt simply fell off the cliff. The coroner's report determined that Kurt died from multiple traumatic injuries and severe blood loss. But no one knows what caused those injuries. He may have drowned, but that would not explain his cuts and abrasions or the acute loss of blood. It appears that he fell from the treacherous cliffs, but it is not known if he fell accidentally or if he
was beaten and pushed. Now, here's my theory. My theory is my theory. I'm not saying my theory is right or wrong. It's just my theory. They're saying that he had cuts and abrasions on his body. Depending on how bad those cuts and abrasions were, it could lead to the loss of blood, a significant amount of blood. What could have happened was let's say that he was climbing up the hill or the mountain or whatever, the cliff, that he was climbing up the cliff. It's nighttime. He probably could not see that well because of it being night. He went to grab what he thought was a stable surface. His hand slipped. He ended up falling off. Bam! He hit the ground. He was either dead when he hit the ground or he was unconscious. The tide came in, pulled him out, and while he was in the water, he was probably banging up against rocks and other debris that is in the water, and that's how he got all the cuts and abrasions. If he was still alive but unconscious, it could have been all those, the impacts from the items in the water that could have ultimately led to his death via the blood loss. That's just my theory, though. That's just my theory. If you're watching this, in the comments section below, how do you think he died? Do you think he was murdered, or do you think this was just a very tragic accident? Okay, let's continue on. Let's go down to here.
As beaten and pushed, Tom asked the coroner what he thought happened to Kurt. The coroner thought the most probable cause of Kurt's death was homicide. However, he said he did not have enough evidence to testify to that in a court of law. So, he sent it up to homicide, classified as unknown. Tom, however, cannot accept that. The San Francisco Police Department investigated Kurt's death but found no evidence to classify it as a homicide. The case remains open, but there are no suspects. Although he has no proof, Tom still believes Kurt was murdered. Tom suspects Kurt uncovered something in his group and told other members that he would expose this information. Tom feels that all of these things contributed to them
wanting to do away with Kurt. That's what this said right here. Like I said, I think honestly when this was recorded, we had a satanic panic. And I think, honestly, Kurt's father was just really, he was dead set on seeing one specific thing. Hell, when my mom passed away, she passed away of a heart attack. And until I actually got the information about my mom's death, I was blaming COVID over and over again. I was like, the goddamn virus took her. She died because of that fucking virus. And I just did not want to see anything else. It wasn't until I was, kind of slapped in the face, not literally, but slapped in the face with the knowledge of what it was that killed her, a heart attack. I kind of had to sit down, and it wasn't easy. I had to sit down and just kind of accept that. For as strong as my mom was, she was a strong-willed person. She was very strong. She cared about everybody. Ultimately, her heart just gave out. And it happens. But like I said, for over a month, I was dead set on it being that goddamn virus. That way, because in my mind, when it turned out to be the virus, I could just be so fucking angry at it. I could be like, I could have yelled at my mom's job because she worked in a factory. I'd be like, how the fuck could you allow this to happen? Your workers are not masked and all that. And then, like I said, I found out that it was a simple heart attack. There was no implications of the virus at all. And then I had to just kind of just sit down and just kind of, accept it, And God, that was a big fucking pill I had to accept, Okay. But like I said, I think that's ultimately what it is. It's just we have a grieving father. And nobody grieves in the same amount of time. It took me over a year to finally get to the point in life where my mom is gone, and I can understand that, and it's not tearing me up inside. It took me over a year for that, It took me a year. It could take other people several years. I think that's what we have is just a father who is grief stricken. He lost his only son, if I remember correctly, and he's trying to make sense out of something that just does not make sense. The only thing that is questionable is all of the beer bottles, because there was no evidence of beer in his body. Okay, so let's continue on. Simple. Okay, let's go down here. Let's go with Caradoc. We all love Caradoc.
Reads, they make actions. Caradoc notes that if he wanted to kill someone, the last person he would kill would be someone who was staying at his house and whose father knew he was staying there. He feels the whole thing is stupid. He understands that Tom went through a great deal of pain about Kurt's death and needed someone to blame. He understands that he was a convenient person for Tom to blame, but he maintains that he was not
responsible for Kurt's death. And that's the thing about the United States. You're innocent until proven guilty. Sad but true. Oh, come on. Okay.
responsible for Kurt's death. Tom feels frustrated that he has the information that would indicate that Kurt was murdered, and yet, to date, the police have virtually closed the case. He is bound and determined to get the case investigated. He thinks Kurt deserves an investigation. He does not think Kurt deserved to die in this manner. Currently, Tom is the only person investigating Kurt's death. If Kurt was murdered, Tom hopes that someone will come forward with new information, new evidence that could reopen the investigation and provide peace of mind for
himself and justice for Kurt. And like I said, it's just sad because of the fact that I can understand what he went through. The only thing, like I said, that's constantly pulling in my mind right now are those beer bottles. I personally still think, though, that ultimately this was a tragic accident. He went climbing, most likely. He fell off when he was climbing that cliff. And he passed away, but then again, that doesn't really explain how his car got there. You know, it's difficult. You know. Okay, let's go to the suspects. Okay, let's go down here. We'll just do this whole thing here.
Justice for Kurt. Suspects. Caradoc was the last person to see Kurt alive. A week before his death, Kurt told a friend that if something should happen to him, the friend should tell the police about Caradoc and another group leader. However, Caradoc denies being responsible. Tom and John believe that Kurt stumbled upon some information in the pagan group that he was not supposed to know about, and that group members killed him as a result. Tom has also theorized that Kurt was killed as a part of a ritual. 2 months after Kurt's death, a woman told Los Angeles sheriff's deputies that she feared for her life. She claimed to have been involved in a statewide coven and named 2 people who were threatening her. These were the same 2 people, one being Caradoc, that Kurt told his friend about before his death.
Come on.
Tom also received a letter from someone who said that witches latched onto Kurt. The letter stated that Kurt was bludgeoned with jousting poles and then thrown from the cliffs to his death. The letter also named the same 2 people, calling them murderers and saying
they were evil beyond belief. Can I see this letter that Tom said? Let's see here. Yeah. It was. I don't think that they showed this letter at all in the video itself. You know, show me the letter, show me proof. Simply saying that she said, or that a friend said, or this mysterious fucking John said, it doesn't mean shit to me. I need fucking proof. How many times has there been a case on Unsolved Mysteries where something bad happened to somebody, and another person was trying to take credit, or they were trying to just kind of feel the add gas to the flames, basically? Oh god, I can't recall the name. I think there was another case, Kurt something or other. I can't recall what his last name is. Kurt something or other, where Kurt's body was actually found in a lot behind a building. He was missing one shoe, and another shoe was found elsewhere. Well, go on to later in that case, a person went into a record store. The record store actually had a missing flyer because Kurt's body was not found at that time. Kurt's body had... Oh, let me actually see if I can find it, because I'm not doing justice for it. Let's see here. Kurt Unsolved Mysteries Wiki. Let's see here. Kurt Sova? I think this is it. Yeah. Let's see here. Boys. 3 young boys made the gruesome discovery. Kurt's body was lying face down in a puddle. His body was in a Christ-like pose. Seemed to have part of the minor scratches, bruises. There was no sign. One tennis shoe was in a pile of rocks 12 feet away. The other shoe was missing. So this is the case I was talking about. Okay, let's go back to Kurt McFall. So it was the Kurt Sova case. Anyway, as I was saying, there was a music store, a record store, that had a missing flyer for Kurt Sova. A guy comes in and goes, yeah, you're not going to find that guy because he's dead. And then it turned out to be that the person who said that, apparently he had like mental problems, and he ended up leaving the area shortly after, if I remember correctly. What I'm trying to the point I'm trying to make is that just because somebody says something does not mean that it's actually true. That they're just trying to either get some sort of recognition for themselves, or they're actually just trying to make life harder for the people that are involved in this case. And I understand people could say, like, Jeff, you're doing the same thing, and at a certain point you would be right, because I am making it known that I'm not believing everything I'm being told. And that's a lot of what these cases are. People are trying to tell you something, and they want me, they want everybody to believe what they exclusively are saying. It is our job, I feel, to be totally neutral and look at the evidence here. Yeah. But can I really be neutral when I'm saying that, and I give you my theory that he could have fallen to his death, because that's going against what the father says? It's like a tightrope, I guess you could say. Okay, so let's continue on. So we have extra notes, and here I'll read. I'm going to take a quick drink though. This case originally aired on the February 5th, 1988 special number 5 episode of Unsolved Mysteries. It was later reprofiled in the Dennis Farina hosted series on the July 17, 2009 episode. So, just a little over 21 years later. Wow. My God, it makes me feel old. Fearing for his safety, Kurt's friend, John... Oh, he was interviewed. I don't recall... I only recall the father, Karate, and the woman. I don't recall John being in this. I'm going to have to rewatch that. He was interviewed in silhouette. Still, it's like, dude, you're a victim. You should not feel ashamed or scared. You need to be out there, and you literally need to be shining a light, saying, hey, this group has made threats, and I feel scared. That way, if something actually did happen to this guy, there could be a chance that it could have been this group, and then that group would have been called out. Anyway. The San Francisco Police Department declined to be interviewed, which is kind of weird, but okay. It was featured on the Trail Went Cold podcast. It is not to be confused with the case of Kurt Sova, which is what I just, looked up. It is one of the many cases attributed to satanic panic, which I was talking about in the 80s. The other cases included the Son of Sam. Was it Son of Sam? I thought he was like 70s, if I remember correctly. The Shane Stewart, Sally McNally, the Eric and Pam Ellender, and Michael Johnson and Rochelle Robinson. David Labrava, the Sons of Anarchy fame, appears as a member of the cult wearing a black and white checkered shirt and sitting in the chant circle scene. The show incorrectly stated that Kurt disappeared on September 10th. Some sources state that Kurt's injuries were caused by a long blunt object. His injuries could not have been caused by a fall. Tom received an anonymous. Wait, what? His injuries. I'm kind of like skeptical about that. Why could his injuries not have been caused by a fall? If the guy is climbing up the cliff and he falls, he's not going to just push himself. He's probably just going to let go, and then he's going to tumble down the side of the cliff where the cliff is constantly hitting him. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Tom received an anonymous call the day after Kurt disappeared, and the caller said that Kurt wanted to escape from the cult and feared for his life. Results. Unsolved. On January 1st, 2007, Karadic passed away at the age of 58. Okay, so let's scroll down here. Let's do Kurt McFall at Find a Grave. Okay, so we're going to go out of full frame now, or full screen. Okay, so we have Kurt Thomas McFall, who's born December 9th, 1966. Died September 8th, 1984. He was 17, so like I said, he was a teenager at the time, like I said. And this goes back to what I was saying. Sometimes teens do things behind the parents' backs. Even though this time he didn't apparently have any alcohol in him. I'm just trying to say that just because you tell your child not to do something, it doesn't always mean that they're going to be like, okay, I will not do it. They will be tempted to do it because you tell them not to. Okay, and then it goes on to talk about his passing away. So let's go down to wait, they don't have, wait, hold on. Photos, flowers. Well, normally they have like the family tree, like parents, siblings, and everything. I don't think it doesn't even mention his father, which is kind of sad. Okay, let's take a look at some of the pictures we have. We have this picture. It looks like it could have been of him in year 1983 yearbook photo from a senior memorial. I thought this could have been like elementary school, to be honest. This one looks like it could have been the prom. And then you have the profile pictures from the show itself. And then his final resting place. I did it with class. Kurt Thomas McFall, 1966 to 84. When I die, I'd like to have something like that. I did it with class. I like that. Oh, by the way, I just want to say, I don't know why. Thank you, Jasmine. You are now free to go. I'm sorry for keeping you hanging around, so thank you very much. There you go. But yeah, as I said, though, I would want that. I did it with class. Jeff Miller. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, yes. But yeah, so it's kind of sad. And then we got a whole bunch of flowers that people have left. But so that was the case of Kurt McFall. What do you think? Do you think that he was murdered? Do you think this was just a tragic accident? Do you think Karadic could have been integral in Kurt's passing? Do you think that he just came across somebody and they killed him? What are your thoughts? That's what these videos are really about. It's also for the people who are watching them to, give me your thoughts. What do you think? So, when I return, I will be right back with the final thoughts. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Ahoy, mateys! Batten down the hatches. Welcome aboard the SS Antelope for the biggest little adventure ever.
Who are you? Who are you?
As two young landlubbers help a pine-sized shipwreck crew adjust to their new life in the land of the giants.
This whole escapade has been a total disaster.
The return of the Antelope. In April, the Disney Channel is in full bloom with a collection of special series and movies for every member of the family.
We have arrived at the time for the final thoughts. Basically, this is a very complicated case. On one hand, I could understand, why the father thinks that Kurt was killed. On the other hand, I can also look at it and see why I think it could have been a tragic accident. However, if you want to go with the fact that it was a tragic accident, then there's like why was the car on the top of the cliff at the golf course when Kurt's body was down below? Was he trying to climb down the cliff and he fell? There's that. If you're in the camp that Kurt was murdered, then there's, who did it and why. We have people who, we have Karotic, who does seem a little bit sketchy. But without proof, all you can do is, you can make accusations, but that doesn't prove anything. You need actual evidence. I personally think that this was a tragic accident, but like I said, I cannot explain why the car was at the top of the cliff where the golf course is, and there were beer bottles strewn around when Kurt's body didn't have any signs of alcohol in it. It's a case that's always going to live with me because it's never been solved, and it's been over 30 plus years, so I doubt it ever will be solved, which is sad because I want to see all these cases get solved, But that is about it. This is just one of those sad cases that have never been solved. It kind of reminds me also of that case where the two boys were walking, they were going hunting at night, and then a little bit later their bodies were found on the train tracks. It's one of those kind of cases. It always just kind of sticks with you in the back of your mind. And especially when you are a lifelong fan of this TV series, it really kind of sticks in the back of your head even longer, But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the case, the Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries episode for today, the 30th of March 2024. Stay tuned. Tomorrow on Easter Sunday, I will be covering the case of the undelivered World War II letters. So stay tuned, and I will see you then. Peace out, everybody.